Well, no, it was an oral demonstration.
How far they can go down, and they was going.
All for it.
And I mean,
it was quite gross.
I mean, someone was getting the cucumbers down.
Yeah, they look like
really thick in size, depending on.
That's it.
Yeah, well, depends on which kind you get. Unless you get the little baby cucumbers. You talking about the big long?
Yeah,
don't get out here and be showing us some tricks and that thing gets stuck.
Because that's gonna be
probably cut the camera off at that point.
Right.
Simulated sex sent me to the ER.
Look like a snake swallowing a rabbit.
Again, it's no discretion with the internet now. So conversations about sex began earlier as well.
Right.
That's very
So, I believe that I agree with you that age-appropriate conversation should happen throughout childhood.
Right.
Once they're showing them their body parts, and then start introducing topics and subject matters as they get older, because children are curious, and with technology and with media, they're being exposed to things earlier and earlier, and it's, there are 6-year-olds that know about porn. I mean, and I didn't really find out about porn until I was a preteen.
Yeah, I was in middle school.
So
they on Sesame Street telling the word of the day is sex, boys and girls.
I remember talking to my son. He might have been 6 or 8 about the clinical way that babies are made, involving eggs and things like that. He's like, babies come from eggs? Oh my God. But then maybe a couple months after that, somebody showed him 2 girls, 1 brother.
Oh.
Yeah, another kid showed him 2
Oh,
girls,
God.
1 brother.
Oh.
So trying to explain that to a kid that young.
That's traumatized.
Yeah.
For both
the
of you.
parent and the
Yes.
child.
Oh.
That's horrible.
Oh.
I don't know if that was a good show or a bad show, because if you look at the good side of it, it might have turned him off. So you probably won't worry about the son doing anything for a very long time.
Not with a cop.
This is sex. At least not with women.
No, right.
Like, boys don't play with the cop.
A trial to say, look, because that was disgusting.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for the 2 women. But
Let's change the subject. My stomach. My stomach.
I said, did you see who they were? Were they like Chinese or Asian?
No, so they weren't us.
Oh no, I ain't eating no shit. But I don't know, because that second video, you know what I'm saying, with the,
So,
new
the
subject.
question is for,
Put the mic in front of
I don't want to, because I had this.
He grabbed it like he was, what you say? Look, he grabbed that mic.
At what age should you talk to your children about sex? And I think that, for me, one thing, sex is a subject that adults are afraid to discuss. It's still taboo. And as sexual as everything is that's on television, you would think that adults would be okay with saying, you know what, this is what it's about. But the reason I bring this up is because adults, when you talk to them and say, well, your child can have sex, they look at you like you're grown to the years. Or if your child is interested in sex, they're like, not my baby. Oh, no. Or if they have a child that comes to them and say, guess what? Me and my girl about to have a baby. They're like, what? You having sex? And then, so I'm thinking that the adults are being irresponsible in this situation.
But then again, I'm thinking, according to that's doing the rearing, the child. Like, I knew an elderly woman, she was in her 70s when I met her. She had 3 adult children, like adult enough to have grandchildren. And she told me that she was raised to believe that babies came from the sheep. She said she has had 2 babies.
Man, you know how many damn babies.
That babies didn't come from the chicken. Yeah. So can you imagine that adult raising, now we got great-grands raising grandchildren, raising the children. Can you imagine that generation raising this upcoming crop of kids? Now that generation raised a crop of children that they never talked to about sex.
Did you say chicken?
Rewind it back. We
what her
stopped.
sex life was like. Like, is she like frying chicken? And
Like
then
Mr.
going,
Just get on top of me and do his business.
And just
And I make him chicken.
Right.
Oh.
But
He
yeah,
stuffs
so
me.
you got
That's
that.
gotta ruin it for the chicken though. You know, like I mean.
Like the
Because I'm a
expectation.
chubby chick, you know what I'm saying? I like my chicken, you know, barbecue, teriyaki, fried, you know what I
Okay,
mean?
you
But
ready to eating some good fried chicken and then getting some sad, sorry sacks?
Well, you eating chicken, so it's not that sorry.
The chicken is good, but it make you not want chicken no more. Oh, if I cook chicken, he gonna come hump me?
Imagine me, 'cause I used to eat chicken by the pound.
He about to get
But
big.
that generation was silent. The next generation was a little bit more open. And then here we are, we're wide open. And so our kids are sexually fluid. They are gender non-binary. Like, our kids are like wide
Right.
open.
Yeah, they
And then
are.
I also look at this, like, for example, between me and my mother, it's like a 32-year age difference. Between me and my daughter is only a 20-year age
Right.
difference. So the conversations and the way I talk to my daughter is different than how I was raised and she talked to me.
Right.
And do you think age plays a part?
I do.
I'll agree.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's more of a generational game.
What about gender? Like, do you feel that having a conversation with your
I
mother
don't know.
is easier than having?
It depends on if you're a boy or girl, because you know, just like a son can go to his father and talk about sex, and it's just like all high fives and giggles.
I don't
But if
know.
a daughter go to her father and say, you know, whatever,
Right.
whatever, it's a different
My daughter's
situation.
not.
But really, what does that conversation look like between the father and son? Is it actually a responsible conversation?
No.
I mean,
No, it depends on the
well,
father. I'm
yeah,
not gonna say
yeah.
no.
I mean,
It
it
depends on the
depends, because I
father.
mean, you don't.
Because, I mean, I've known some dads who, as their son progressed through life and they reach the age where they are ready to have sex, they'll purchase a prostitute and say, well, this is what you do.
Oh, that's a little extreme. Like,
Who was your father?
Not, first of all,
he said, you don't talk about my daddy. That wasn't my daddy.
I wasn't purchase anything. It was Shawn Michaels and Dick Steve. That's the only person he could use for me. If he'd have purchased a female, nothing was going to happen. I would have walked out a virgin.
It don't work. I'm broken. It don't work.
Daddy, I ain't interested. But so, I'm just saying that some fathers and some parents, some mothers as well,
Are irresponsible.
their rites of passage when it comes to sex is a little bit off, and their conversation is a little bit off. So I'm thinking that if they had conversations with their children, if it was an appropriate conversation, what would that conversation really look like? What
So,
would,
I can tell you, my mother and our relationship was wide open. Like, I could go to her and sometimes I would say stuff just to make watch her eyebrows raise. And because of the openness that I experienced with my mom being able to tell her anything, I automatically assumed that would happen with my son. Like, I would talk to him and ask him questions about his perceptions of sex and when he got brought to certain positions and certain things that people do during sex. And he would just sit in the car and be like, I'm not having
Because you would have answered those.
But you went too deep. I mean, it was like, do you put your finger in her butt when you do it, or you just, you know, like, there was too much information.
I want my son to have a healthy attitude towards sex, no matter what his proclivities are. There is no judgment. What you like is what you like. That's the way I was raised, and I wanted him to be raised the same way. But I also wanted him to have information.
Did you stop talking once he said he wasn't interested?
I changed the way that I came at him with it. So it was more or less not, are you having sex? But let me know when you're ready so I can go and leave a box of condoms under the bathroom sink. You know what I mean? And he's not. He's like, I'm not talking to you about this.
and I think and it makes sense because when parents or adults have conversations with adolescents about sex, they feel a little bit self-conscious, you know, especially if you're talking about sensitive matters such as masturbation. I remember again the masturbation conversation, and my mother took the shit out of me when I was like, I'm masturbating, but I didn't know what she was talking about. And so I thought she was just.
Oh, you said you ain't do it.
No, I said I did.
Get your
I
ass
was like,
aligned.
She was like, did you masturbate? And I was like, yeah, I do it all the time. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm masturbating. I just hold myself and I masturbate.
Because in your mind, it was you touched
I'm
yourself.
touching myself,
Okay.
but she never explained that it was actually, I had to stimulate myself into an orgasm.
Okay.
So I was thinking me holding my penis to urinate was masturbating.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times delivery of subject matters with adolescents should be a little bit more detailed, and they need to, but I think adults have a problem with having these conversations. Oh my goodness.
They have problems with having these conversations with each other, let alone
And that's what I was
Actually,
gonna say. Sometimes it's not about how comfortable the kids are. It's the
feel
fact
so
that the
much-
adults are
I
uncomfortable.
feel so
Yeah, it
vulnerable.
is.
Because as adults now, some of us would still say, well, I wish they would have still talked or still said something.
Because my mother had an open door policy about sex. Like, I could come talk to her, but I could tell she never really wanted to talk about it. Like, even when it came to puberty, found out about my body. And it's not, you know, like, no, it's not that I couldn't, like, and I'm a reader. I've always liked to read. I'm talking about, like, I would read the dictionary. Like, you could punish me and take away the CD, but you couldn't take away my books. That's the type of child I was. She bought me a whole set of books about your body, about puberty, about sex, everything. And said to me, if you have any questions, come ask me. I just never necessarily went to ask her. So I never felt like I couldn't talk to her, but I just didn't do it.
And
Per
my son did the same thing. Rather than talk to me about it, even though I'm the pure romance lady, okay? I'm trying to help everybody come. But rather than come to me, he went out and he bought his own book entitled She Comes First. So
Oh, that was a good book.
Right on, Sonny.
God.
he did his own research and he knows and he does come to me when he has questions. Like, he even told me he couldn't mess with some chick because she had too many bodies. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Too many bodies. I mean, she had such.
She had way too many bodies.
Right, you know, and well, some of us, and well, I ain't gonna say nothing about
The
that.
whore of Babylon.
Jezebel.
50 parrot whore.
Subject, I don't have kids, so.
Well.
Well, you was a child, huh?
Yeah, you're right. How about
And
when
you-
we get
you-
perspective?
I didn't have that talk.
Okay.
Well, and that's the problem. So the reason why the conversation is about
My
yeah.
father was uncomfortable to talk to me because he thought that.
But you is.
My-
Well, no.
The problem
But
is.
the thing is that even if that's the case, when you have, even for me, as a gay male, when you don't have anyone to guide you, then you're left to guiding yourself.
Right.
And that sets you up for a lot of predatory behavior, people that are out to victimize you. And that's what happens. And the reason is because in their mindset, it's like, oh, you know what, I don't want to touch that because I don't want to give you permission to be gay. But the
right.
reality is that regardless of whether or not you're gay or straight, everyone comes out. You have to actually announce your sexuality at some point. And that is a very, very traumatic experience
Some
for
people
everyone.
come out and
And,
just
for,
say they
and the thing is, it's just that it's a social norm for you to be heterosexual, so you can just blend into it. But the reality of it is that you still have to disclose that information. And when you disclose it, your father, your mother doesn't want to hear that you out there. Oh, they don't want to even imagine that you're doing. And the first thing adults do is imagine the worst.
My
So
mama
when
cried.
yeah, they think when you say
so
you're
bad.
having sex, the first thing they think is anal sex and oral sex. You out there being a thought. Oh, like
You know what? That's true because
Slobbing knobs.
when I turned 18, a week after my birthday, I went and got my tongue pierced. And I don't know how, like, she couldn't see it, but whatever happened, we had a conversation, and I was, she asked me for some cash. She went to get some Chinese food. She asked me for some cash. I did not have it. She said, well, what happened to all the cash? You just had a birthday. And I worked at a hair salon. I went and got my tongue pierced and stuck out my tongue. When I tell you, she bust out in tears, told me I look like gutter scum. I said, what is gutter scum?
Filthy pirate whore.
And why would I want to do that? And honestly, even though I was having sex, I didn't get my tongue pierced because of sex. I like tattoos and piercing. That's just what I like. And I went to Catholic school. I couldn't get my nose pierced.
but that was the
Yeah,
association.
But that was the association.
Right,
couldn't
and
wear
so
the
when
hoop
you
earring.
are, and so
Right.
I can understand where Kable is coming from when he says, well, I never had that conversation. I never had that conversation. Outside of masturbation, I never had that conversation about sex. And even with that, I got the hell beat out of me for something I didn't know about. And because of something she was explaining wrong. And so I got chastised. And so I walked away from that thinking, me holding my penis during urination is masturbation, but the whole time I'm tearing it down in the I was tearing it down in the bed.
That was masturbation.
That's why
Huh?
my goddamn toilet paper
Well,
rolls.
it's not that he.
No, it wasn't that she said that. Her definition, how she explained it was, do you touch yourself? Well, for males, yes. You don't, and I mean, you have to
If
use
you
it.
shake it too many times, I mean, you're playing with yourself.
If you shake it too many times and something else come out other than urine, then yes. But if you're shaking it because you got urine and you try to, yeah.
So how because I know you and I know how old you are. How long did it take you to get to that place where you're as open as you are about sex? Because I don't have a frame of reference for your point of view. even though I can't say I'm conservative, but I can talk about sex openly, not feel embarrassed no matter what type of sex it is, not feel embarrassed, not feel ashamed, whatever. Because I guess because that's not been my experience, where it's just like, no, it's dirty, it's filthy, it's wrong, don't do it, don't touch it, keep all your clothes on at all times. I don't know that life. So how did you get from using the bathroom and holding my penis as masturbation to where you are now? Like, I'm a, what is it?
Trial and error. I had to actually, I mean, really, it was, and for me, because I'm a gay black male, there weren't anyone, there wasn't no person that I could go to, no mentor, no role model that I could look to. And the reality is I had to figure it out on my own. And that's very dangerous, because there are a lot of people, that's across the board, you know, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, everyone. They are figuring it out on their own. But what happens is that they're exposing themselves, they're putting themselves in dangerous situations because they're figuring it out. And no adult wants to step up because they're too conservative to say that this is what happens when you do this. And so now young people are contracting STIs faster. They're putting themselves in sexual positions where they're being sexually assaulted. They're they're in the sex work now, and that's because adults don't want to have a conversation. There are 11 and 12-year-old young girls and boys that are out here doing things that grown adults don't do. They're engaging in orgies and trysts in public places, in the auditorium at school, and they think this is fun. They're putting it on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, and they're doing these things, and these guys and women are taking advantage of them, and they don't have no clue. So by the time they reach our age, they're so torn down emotionally, mentally, and physically that they don't have any idea or which way to go.
And not only that, but they don't understand the emotional ramifications that come with stuff like that. Like, sex is not just a physical act, it's spiritual and it's emotional, whether you do it recreationally or not. And I know as an adult sometimes it's hard to navigate those feelings, but I can't imagine being an angsty 16-year-old girl with raging hormones and experiencing the stuff that these kids are going. I couldn't imagine.
So I brought this topic up because I like to tie things in. So the question that we started out with is, at what age should you begin to talk to your children about sex? That's the beginning question. The question I'm going to is corporal punishment ever appropriate to discipline a child? And the reason I bring that up is because of the video of dad whooping ass.
I ain't see it yet.
I didn't see it.
So there's a video that's out of a father disciplining his child with a belt. She's 12, and according to what they're stating is that he caught her allegedly having sex. And his
pull the video up.
And the thing is that everyone was weighing in, and they were saying that it was inappropriate for him to beat his daughter because she was having sex. They were saying that, you know, that it was abusive, and so my question is, was it wrong? And the reason why I say that is because there are some people who argue that that's his child, and that he's in his way, that's his way of protecting her from something worse.
So I have a question, and what is the overall definition of corporal punishment? Because everybody will have a different definition. Like, some people say a smack on the hand is corporal punishment.
It's based on your trauma.
Right. So for me, I'm not gonna say corporal punishment is inappropriate. That is inappropriate in my opinion. But if my 3 or 4-year-old keep trying to touch a stove, I'm not gonna keep saying stop, and let you burn yourself to find out. I'm gonna pop your hand, because at the end of the day, that's a less of an injury to you. So that's why I say, for me, it depends on what corporal punishment means.
Well, with the video in question, with the father beating the little girl, because when I saw it, I posted on my page immediately and said, beat that ass. But, I mean, you know, he apparently, allegedly, from what the video was saying.
Wait a minute, I just
He might have recorded himself.
Said that, you know, that he caught his daughter, 12 years old, having sex. And, you know, when the video started, he was like, "Oh, so you fucking now?"
Yeah.
And she was she knew it was coming. So this ain't her first ass whipping,
Right.
okay?
When her first
Because she
time
was
in the
standing there
rodeo.
like,
Right.
she was already rubbing the legs. She felt the whips coming. So that ain't your first time doing something to get your ass whipped, number one. So she already a badass. That's what I got from the video. Number two, I have no issues with him disciplining his daughter. That's his kid. You know what I'm saying? The problem with a lot of these kids today that they don't have that type of discipline. Mommy, this like black people. I'm sorry to say it because I'm not racist, but black mamas have turned into white mamas. Little Bobby, stop it, and he like, fuck you. It's not nice, little Bobby. No, my mother used to wax that ass. Okay, so some of these kids need that discipline. You go from time to time to try to talk without going there because it hurts you. Trust me, I beat my niece one time. My brother wouldn't do it.
It don't always hurt.
And it bothered me that I beat her because she was scared of shit. But she never did what she did again.
Right.
And I'm not saying that always works. The only issue I have with that video is that the fact that whoever was recording it posted it. That's no one's business. That's embarrassment. That starts up all types of trouble for that child. Bullying, teasing, all types of stuff that could be very traumatic. And then giving kids today, God knows what she gonna do from that trauma. They might open up her door and she hung herself. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I pray that won't happen. But kids today, you know,
they're a little more
And
fragile
I
than
think
we
that,
are.
so for me, what it represents is that for that father, he may have felt that he had to go to that extreme to protect his daughter.
Right.
Because you have to think about the society that we live in. He's trying to protect his daughter from someone else's child who may not be as invested in their child as he is in his.
Right.
So your son is out having sex with everybody and doing it to all these girls because that's something that you support, that's something that you allow. But I don't allow my daughter to do that. But how am I going to protect my daughter from the world outside of my house?
Okay, but at the same time, I came up in a household where the belt was pulled out and you're going to get your ass whipped today. You understand what I'm saying?
Shit, on the
But
spot.
in a situation like that, like, of course it was a video and we don't know what happened before or after, but I would think that as a man to your daughter, you would want to sit down and have a conversation with her.
Shit, they gonna whip that ass. You got your little daughter coming there, he will whip that ass. Because fathers is hurt. They hurt first of all.
Right, so he's in his emotions.
Right.
I understand that, but at the same time, where does the conversation that says this is your body, it is your most treasured possession, like this is your most prized jewel, you don't give it away to
But
everybody.
it's no proof to say that he didn't have that conversation with her. Because I'm gonna tell you,
I'm glad you said
that. And you might get that ass. Look, I got my ass whooped, and I'm gonna tell you, and I ain't get my ass beat for every little thing and all of that. I can probably count on my hand how many times I got my ass whooped. But when I got my ass whooped, I deserved that shit. And when the fucking was over with, the parent came to me and said, look, you know what I'm saying? This is why you got that ass whooping. Do you understand that?
But
Right.
And you explain it to him. Because it's like, you can't, look, I don't believe in beating your kid for every little damn thing.
No,
but at the
not at
same
all.
time, certain shit entitles an ass whooping. I don't give a shit how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's certain shit you do. This is like if you go steal some money out your grandmother's purse.
Beat that ass.
You get your ass whooped. Guaranteed.
I get that.
There's certain shit you gonna get your ass whooped
I
for.
get that, but I don't think that sex is something that you should
Fucking at 12, you get your ass whooped. Cause guess
I-
what?
you know
Where
what?
was she fucking at? You was supposed to. You wasn't supposed to have nobody in this
So you was
goddamn
lying.
house. Your ass was lying. Number one. Two, you too goddamn young to be out here. Who was you having sex with? That's the next damn question.
So who the fuck
Right.
is in my house? Don't have nobody in my house if I'm not home.
And then also, if you really dissect, see, I'm a person that you try to dissect the video to try to see the beginning and then try to see the end. You can tell that this girl had this conversation about sex. Just by the way that he said, oh, so you fucking now? So she already know. I don't know if they had to talk with her, but I'm hoping they good parents and they did. And she went out and still explored. That's what kids do when they out there going to high school, going whatever, and then they hanging out with their friends and then something happened. You know, parents have no control what goes on outside their house. You can only control what you tell your kids, and hopefully they take your information and use it accordingly when they go out to be safe. You know what I'm saying? But I
think that in this situation, it comes back to, again, it's the adults, because for me as a child, me as an adult, I remember what it was like to be a child. And I remember playing house,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember playing hide and go freak. I
7
remember,
minutes ahead.
yes. And so when you leave children alone, they explore,
Right,
and that's a part of life.
That's
So-
a part
And
of life.
so,
I mean, it depends.
and if you got a little boy with a little girl, and they are both at the age where they are developing,
Yeah.
the first thing is they're going to say, "What
you
yours
show
look
me
like, and how
yours,
is
I'ma
it
show you
different from
mine."
mine?"
So this is why I say, and I will be honest, I came from a household, my mother never beat me. And I've had conversations now because she know I spank, beat, whatever my daughter. And she say, well, why do you do that? I didn't hit you. I have told my mother, it's many times you should have beat my ass. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's plenty of times I deserve to get my ass whooped, and I should have, and I didn't. To the point I said I probably would have been a better adult if you'd have beat me. Like I've told my mother that. I have said it. So I will spank and discipline my daughter. Now I will, and I can also admit there are times as a parent I have gone too far, and I have to come back and apologize to her.
Yeah, you know.
But
So,
I think that,
and that's like me growing and recognizing. But when it comes to the sex thing, it just depends. Like if you told me you was going to Sheila house and you ended up at Mikey house, I don't even know if I'm beating your ass for having sex. I'm beating your ass because you
For
told me you was
lying.
at Sheila house. So
For
you got hit by
lying.
a car in front of Mikey house. How the fuck did I know you was at Mikey house?
Exactly.
Like that's the part that will break me down more than the sex. Because my daughter is 13, built like she's 25, and get ready to go to high school in September. So I have these conversations.
I'm just afraid. My thing is, I just can understand. I empathize with the parents. I really do, because a lot of them are afraid. I mean, society has gone to the point where there are no boundaries.
No,
And no one has, there are no morals anymore. Like, there is no
insane.
moral code. And so
Morals
when
been
people,
gone.
when you see a child
Right.
that's overly developed at 12, your son, who is 13 years of age, but he looks like he's 21 or 22, and he got these cougars ready to snatch his ass off the side of the mountain,
Yes.
because he looked like a man, he talked like a man, he stand like a man,
he might feel
like a
like
man.
and so they want to they want to open him up. That's a fear.
It is.
And you know, and that's not, there are no, even in churches, there are no boundaries. You would think, oh, you know what, the
But
little
you know
church.
that, but all them boys has been fondled by the Catholic Church and
Well,
whatnot.
I mean,
Been
it's-
fondled.
it's like,
It ain't
it's
just the
just as
Catholic
many.
Church.
It's
Oh no,
not-
it ain't. I know it ain't.
And
But
it's not
you
just
know,
boys.
But they
Because
got
it's
hope.
just as many girls that have been touched and dealt with, and no one said anything about it.
Or they
And I
told
think
them
that
to
goes
hush
to the
up.
conversation you have with your children, because I have never told my daughter don't have sex. What I said to her was, and we have a different perspective, because number one, you have a son, number one, I have a daughter, and now your son is grown.
Yeah.
So yours is hindsight. I'm entering into this.
Yeah.
But I've never told her not to have sex, because I feel like if you tell them not to do it,
They gonna wanna do it more.
So what I told her is, and like she's come to me in middle school, 6th and 7th grade, talking about her friends fucking sucking and doing stuff in the hallway. Like she was able to come to me and tell me these things. And like, because we have an open
Because it's
communication.
open.
So even with high school, I said, let me tell you something. I'm never going to tell you not to have sex, but you need to wait until you're ready.
Right.
And then when I say ready, I'm not talking about what you want and how it feels. I
Right.
mean, diseases come from sex if you're not responsible.
Right.
Babies come from sex, and you can't live here with no baby. You was my last baby, and you about to be 14. We not doing it.
But it's
And
that.
then I've also told her, and guess what? Don't fuck the basketball team, because they're gonna talk to you,
Yes.
talk about you. And I've said it in those exact words, because I feel like, and it depends on the child also, but you have to give it to them how they see it and hear it. And we put these computers and these smartphones, iPhones, Android, whatever you want, in these children's hands, and you can put whatever blocks you want on the phone. They're still exposed to it. If they can't see it on their phone, somebody else's parent might not block it.
Right.
So I'm one of those parents. I'm just gonna give it to you raw and real to an extent. Now I'm never going. I don't care if she's 25. I'm never gonna have a conversation about how to suck dick with my daughter. I'm just not doing that.
No.
That's my boundary.
So-
But I'm gonna talk to you about sex and what can happen because of it and what can come from it and just different things, and not to shame her, but to educate her on how things can go.
But you got, but I see a lot of parents still, they're at this age and they don't know what to do, but you're still not giving your children that type of love, because sex is now being replaced from love. Like,
Right.
instead of being
Yeah, that
compassionate,
connection.
somebody want to be touched. And
Right.
Well-
if you touch me, I'ma feel it.
Right.
And if you're touching people the wrong way, they still gonna make that intimacy.
Right. If they weren't hugged by their parent, but they're
Right.
hugged by somebody else, it replaces a
Right.
physical love.
Because sex also represents this kind of society where it's just an instant gratification. Whereas love requires a lot of work.
Well,
and
we kind of
sacrifice.
glorify sex here.
We do.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Everything.
I think
it
across
could
the
be
globe, I think
a
that's the
yogurt
thing.
commercial, and they on there extra sexy with the yogurt. I mean, everything sex sells.
Right.
And so, I mean, you can't hide it from your kids.
You cannot.
And it's like it's no point in I don't cook a sugarcoat nothing for my daughter.
Right.
If she asks me, I tell her how it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because sometimes when you come at stuff and you be like, oh well, you give them the birds and the bees and all, and now you done confuse your kids. They don't really know what's happening. And it's like, but they already exposed to it. So it's like you might as well. Just like prime example, we had a little gathering the other week.
Yeah.
And we was all sitting around talking, and we talking in code, and we cutting off certain words and whatnot. And she said, "Mommy, can you tell them that they don't have to do that because we already talked about this at school."
Right.
I'm sorry.
And
Well,
I'm
that was at my house.
yeah, and I'm like, well, how much?
Please.
I'm like, how much did they tell you in sex
Fine.
ed? 'Cause I'm like a lot.
We got all these parents right here. Someone please finally get me to understand what the fuck do they mean by birds and bees? Because I don't get
I don't
know.
And it wasn't had with me.
I don't understand how the birds and bees got to do
but not
with.
the birds.
I don't get it. Every time, we had to
Me
talk
either.
about the
I mean,
birds
only
and
thing I
bees.
can say is, well, the bee, gets sting.
I feel like I'm flying when I'm done.
Flower to flower and help the flower.
I never understood what it means.
I don't. And
That's
as
like
a
the
child,
stork
didn't
bringing a
understand.
baby. That's like a lot of the stuff
a
that they
whole
used to
lot of
tell
lies.
children. Like the stork brought your baby brother and baby sister, and you be sitting outside
Them
looking
is
for a damn
lies.
stork. with
Right.
your baby.
Like,
But-
what's
Or
a
the cat
stork?
Y'all talking about a time where that worked.
Right.
We were dumb children. Like,
No, I mean, I don't.
You
the
were
regular
dumb.
You speak for
I was-
yourself.
I didn't get a
Speak for
bird.
you
yourself.
thought you was masturbating when you was taking a piss.
I was- yeah, because-
a certain level
yeah.
of intelligence children had.
Not
But
that
now-
I don't
stork.
think it's
I
intelligent.
don't think-
It was exposure.
No, exactly.
Right, 'cause
Something's
knowledge and
hidden.
intelligence
Yeah,
is
they don't
like they weren't told
I
about
think
it.
our generation was the first to have HBO and real sex. That
Oh,
shit was
yeah.
traumatizing.
But you know what?
Showtime after dark.
Right, it was
And I'm
right
not
there in
like,
front
for
of you.
example,
Traumatizing. I was interested. I
Right. I was damn interested.
I'm not traumatized either. And taxi cab infections.
Yeah.
It depends on how you
I mean, my eyes opened
So-
up, but they stayed open while I was
Because
looking.
and I'll say this, like,
Just like that.
when real sex came on the first time you saw it, how old were you?
I was about 7.
With real
Seven.
sex?
Real
Yeah, real
sex,
sex.
for
They used to
sure.
come on HBO on Taxi Cab
Yeah,
Confessions.
Taxi
on
Oh, I didn't,
I
no, I didn't watch that.
I think I was a teen.
I was the type
Right.
of kid that
I had
went
cable
to.
in my bedroom.
No, I was the kid that my mom would call everyone in the living room and be like, so I got my cable bill and
Oh, no, it was on HBO.
someone was on pay-per-view and
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not
ordered.
talking about
Oh no! I was that kid, and I was sitting there
You
like,
wanted to launch it.
He talking about big booty
why he was-
six.
I didn't want no
sounds
soft
good.
porn.
No,
I
no,
was-
this is why I asked, for example, it's an age difference between you and I. Even
Right.
though, you know, the melanin's popping and you know, look, y'all get it. But real sex was more exposure for my generation
Yeah.
as
Right.
opposed to
Because they
yours.
show body parts.
Yeah,
Wait,
they
Right,
wait.
and real sex came on when I was in
Wow.
elementary, maybe middle school. Because mind you, I was born in '85. I'll say.
Oh, you're
So-
younger than me.
Right, so that's what I saw. I had cable in my room, and I saw Real Sex, Taxi Cab Confessions, the Bunny Ranch, all
Bridge
of that in
Down,
elementary,
all
middle
that.
school.
The who?
The Bunny
It was
Ranch.
the Playboy.
No, not the Playboy.
It was a
It was the
local,
place in Vegas, and it was called the Bunny
It was
Ranch.
a
They
little
had
rock.
At your household, my mother had
No,
me
my mother
watching.
didn't know I was watching
Oh,
it.
girl, I
I
was
was in my
watching.
bedroom at 11 o'clock. I slept with my TV.
Yeah,
on.
but even
And we
with
had all
cable
the
in my
channels.
room, I was watching the Smurfs and Soap
She
and
gave it
Three's
to me in my room
Company.
because of this.
Shit, I still watch
But
Three's
all the
Company.
channels work.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so she didn't have parental.
Black
They
it.
had that in '94.
Shit,
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
No,
they
they
did.
No, parental controls was, hey, everybody
That's
here,
when
you watch
it
what I
became
watch.
digital.
Yeah.
It was not
Yeah.
digital, baby. in the
Really?
early
It
90s.
wasn't now.
So
You probably just ain't know them channels work.
So that's why I
That's why
did
you don't pay for
pay-per-view.
this.
They probably come to the air with a screen was scrambled. You just see the thing flickering. You like, you know they doing it on there.
Yeah.
So
It
one
works.
of the
And you know, I watch HBO because my
Wait,
mother
one of the
never,
viewers asked a question.
No, they had
censored
comments.
what movies I watch. Like if we watch, like I'm gonna give you an example. When did New Jack City come out? Like '95? I might have been 5 or 6. I watched it with her, but what happened is when the
Ooh.
sex scenes
You
came
know
on,
what?
she
I
would do
agree
this.
with that.
I could watch everybody get
Oh,
shot
yeah,
and selling
shit.
crack.
Jenny.
So you
So
talking
that's
to somebody that got their eyes covered in purple
and I be
rain
like
on the
this.
bullshit.
Right.
So wait.
So I never covered sex scenes for my daughter because if you doing this, I'm gonna cut it back on when you leave and I'm gonna watch it.
So we have a comment from Jenny Grimes that I totally agree with. You want to read this since
Yeah,
this
it's
is your
fine.
phone? Go
She
ahead.
said that she read the other day that parents aren't raising their kids in love, but they raise them to adapt to almost any type of environment.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
a commenter said that she was, this is how some parents feel. She said that she has all boys, and her primary concern is that a man, she worries about a man raping her son.
Wow.
And that's why she doesn't allow him to spend the night. And I've heard that before.
The women are raping these sons.
But and that's what I want to
Who ain't
respond.
raping who?
It's
Everybody
not,
raping.
It's not just men. And the thing is that when a lot of males don't realize that, that a lot of male first experience are not with girls that are their age, it's with girls that are girls.
Yeah.
The older women. So, the thing is that we have this misconception about who's doing wrong to our children, and
We
it's
have a
not.
misconception about
Yeah,
what
it's not
sexual
true.
abuse is.
Exactly.
If a woman touches a 16-year-old boy, it's not sexual abuse. But if a man touches a 16-year-old girl, it is.
But
No,
the-
that's
and
not
that-
true.
you know
I don't
that-
agree
that-
with it, but
Yeah,
that's
but
how
the
people
funny,
That
and
pisses me
also,
off.
Yeah.
That
and
pisses
it's
me off.
also what is allowed, because like I said, for a male, they don't see that as traumatizing for a male. But
Right, a rite
again,
of
they're
passage.
aboard as rites of passages. They may say, look, you're going to get in there and you're going to do what you need to do with this girl because you're not going to be no faggot. Or you're not going to be no punk. And that breeds this type of contempt and this behavior that he has to do this in order to say this is what it
That
means
I'm
to
a
be a
man.
man. You get what I mean? So a lot of times we are teaching our children these behaviors that are just wrong, and it's because we don't know how to actually appropriately address the subject matter.
Yeah.
So it's like what is
a
it
double-edged
called?
sword.
Yeah.
Generational curses. It's because
Yeah.
we weren't properly educated or comfortable talking about sex in our childhood. We do these things to our children.
And even relationships, like my
Oh, please don't go to the Bible and sex.
Oh no. Oh wait, what?
Who?
I did.
No,
Lil Wayne?
my son's grandfather
The
will
Bible.
ask him. No, he'll ask him how many girlfriends
All the
you got.
evenings start jumping up.
Yes.
How many girlfriends you got? Like that's the question to the boys. How many girlfriends you got, grandson? Ain't nobody asking no
But
girl
nobody
how
asking
many
no
boys,
girls
how many
that-
boyfriends you got.
Well, no, because
Somebody
if a
asked
girl
my
has
friend.
more than one
Hell no.
boyfriend, she's a
you
thot.
hoe. You a hoe.
But see, there's a double standard. You know what I mean? So as a female, if you have a lot of sexual partners as a female, then automatically you're a
Right.
whore.
You're not
But if
sexually
you're a
free.
male that has a lot of sex with, different partners
Yeah,
or whatever,
like,
then,
you the man.
oh man, you the Mac, you this and the other. But my thing is, I'm like, okay, how do you expect these women to find out what they want or what they don't want if they don't have experience with somebody else? You know what I'm saying?
And that was that's funny because that was one of my questions, and I mean it was based on porn. Why in porn is the female so nasty, but the men aren't? Why?
Well, I
aren't
mean, it
they
ain't but so
called-
much nasty shit men can do. I mean, the nasty shit.
No, that's a lie.
I mean, it is, but I mean, I'm just saying. You had to put me on, girl. Send that to my check back real quick.
You gotta get you with the hub, okay?
I'm nasty as hell. Don't
I
say
mean,
that.
yeah, you can be
Listen.
nasty, but I mean,
Oh,
it's just
no.
look
See, now, it's
better
a
when a
difference.
girl doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like men. I don't know. You gotta send me
nasty is
that
different
shit.
from gay nasty.
No, let me
Send me that shit.
And
Send me
that's
that.
because some heterosexual men are closed-minded.
True.
Because
That's
there are
true,
things
too.
that heterosexual men can do, but that's gay.
You
That's
can't
gay,
even
that's gay.
raise his
It ain't
ass.
gay if you doing it with a woman.
If you going down on a dude and you accidentally lick him in a way,
So
them
we-
motherfuckers, they automatically
really
think they
like
gay.
it.
They like that shit, but they be thinking they gay and shit. Like, oh,
we
she
off
done touched my
topic.
booty.
We way
I
off
must be
topic.
Way
gay.
off topic.
Yeah, we off
We
topic.
done-
I'm
we
sorry.
done-
I'm
We
sorry.
were talking about the daddy abusing the child. Where we get
But I
that?
just pulled it up. Okay, we're gonna get back on subject, but I pulled it up and I don't think the ass whooping was that bad. Now I didn't play it with the sound on because I know we on air.
Oh, it wasn't.
But it wasn't that
It
goddamn
was only
bad.
28 licks.
Yeah, she did that.
I
Damn, we counted it.
I was like,
Woo!
2,
Yeah,
3.
shit. Yeah, shit. It wasn't that bad.
And he did.
And at 12 years old, you're not mentally ready to deal with the things that come along with sex. You're not. I don't care. You,
And what
hell,
I
it's
like-
25-year-olds that's out
Now,
here
what I
that's
like
not
about,
ready for that.
What I did like about his ass whipping is that he targeted one area, which was his legs. He didn't want to make sure he didn't hit any of her upper body. He wore those legs out, and like I said, you can tell she already used to that because she was covering those legs before he started.
I wonder what the reaction would have been if that was a mother beating her son like that for having sex in the house.
It would have been a double
First of-
standard.
It is a double standard because we don't. I know.
I don't
think
even
that's
think the mother
unfair.
would have beat them. I don't think that the mother would have beat the
No,
son.
she probably
I
cussed
don't
him
know,
out,
my
but she
mother
probably
used to
My
raise
wasn't.
head
my
before having
ass.
a
What
little
do you
fancy
mean?
ass girl in her house. Because you
Right.
know, even the mother, I have no,
Yeah.
they're dating men, mothers, a lot of mothers, baby and coddle their sons. I'm not going to say all of them,
I got
but
something
a
to
lot
say.
of them. Like their son is like, I guess because a lot of them ain't had their own man either, but their son
Yeah,
is up on
ain't
this
that the
pedestal.
truth?
Their son don't do
Ain't
no
that
wrong.
the damn
So I'm
truth?
imagining, you had that little fast ass girl in my house.
No,
No,
I think-
your little
I think-
fast ass
I
son
think-
had,
I think when
they
it
were
comes-
together being fast.
I think when it comes to a man and a woman and how they, I think when it comes to sexual men and women, is a lot of biased opinions because my mom beat my ass, and a lot of times she would call my father because my mother was the roof. We would gladly take my father's ass whippings because he knew he would stop at a period of time. My mother seemed like she was having fun.
I got something for
She
that.
was so bad that she had to move me away because I'm so used to your ass whipping. She was like, "Oh, he don't even cry no more."
She opened up the
You gotta live
closet.
with
And
your
that's,
mother.
that's the other thing about corporal punishment is it conditions. It conditions. It
They taught me
conditions.
how to upgrade on my sexual experiences. Though. I take pain like a champ. Man.
Well, see,
Like my mom.
the kind of fucking freaky in the way. You see this? That's what corporal punishment
What
does.
that did to you?
But no,
That would kill her.
that it conditions you to be able to withstand it. So it loses its impact after a certain amount of
But see,
time.
that's
But
why you
when
don't
you
beat
just
their
beat
ass
their
all the
ass for
time. You
every
don't beat
little
them all
thing.
the time.
Now, I don't believe in abuse, and I believe there's a difference between spanking and disciplining and abusing
Exactly.
your child. If you just beat your ass because you done knocked the flour over, no,
Right.
that's just too much. And also, you
But-
know what? It's a difference between beating somebody's ass and whipping them.
But then
So
now
I'm gonna stop saying beating your ass.
we're
I'm
only
saying
talking about physical abuse. We're not talking
I'm
about
talking about-
emotional.
Oh, yeah,
We're not
that's-
talking
yeah, we're
about
talking about
psychological.
Oh, but yeah, you gotta understand.
And
where-
I think emotional and psychological.
I think
can
it
be
can
You
worse.
gotta think with me, my mom, and with a lot of kids out here, like in my position, I was abused by my stepfather for 3 years, and he was a 9-degree black belt. He already knows.
Oh
'Cause I
shit,
ran
he was
away
spin
and went
kicking
to
on
his
your
house.
You was getting
Oh my God! I have never had no one make me laugh at my abuse, but that was funny. I never laughed at my abuse, but you are stupid. But he knows because I ran away and stayed at his house,
Right.
and you know, my mother thought that's the type of discipline I needed because she thought I was an out of control child, where I wasn't. I was just a child that I had to go in my room and try to live life on my own because y'all wouldn't treat me like a child. Y'all disowned me or talked down about me because at the time you thought I was gay or you thought something was wrong with me because you thought I was gay. So I had no one to talk to, so everything I did on my own. So I rebelled because I'm like, I wanted the love from my mom and my father I didn't get. And then here come this man who's staying 6'7", who my mother felt as though this is what we needed as kids. And he abused me the most out of everyone.
Yeah, he's
So-
trying to beat you straight.
Right. He gonna turn
That's
your
what it,
life.
I mean, he's trying to beat
And
you
that's
straight.
what-
That's what they
And that's
did.
what parents
then.
do, and it's unfortunate. That's what they do when they're afraid. When they're afraid, and that's across the board. When they think that you're out selling drugs or doing drugs, the answer is beat you. When they think you're having sex or that you're too promiscuous, or you look or appear to be too promiscuous, they think beating you is the answer. And when they
don't do anything.
or exactly,
Right.
I mean, but
I don't know. For some
I
people,
think that
shit
when you
works.
say that when you say that I'm not doing anything, I think that that's just as aggressive as when you do something. Because a lot of times it's like I'm not doing nothing. The way that they're doing that is I'm gonna let you go out here and do whatever the fuck you want to do because I want you to get jammed up. I want you to get pregnant because that's a punishment. You get what I mean? Or I want you to catch HIV. I want you to do this
hell
thing,
no.
because that's a
You
punishment,
wishing
and
that
that's
shit
what
was
you
somebody you
deserve,
sick.
as opposed to let me talk to you about these
And
behaviors
educate.
and educate you. So that's just as detrimental as the ass whooping.
But see, that's what I
Right.
was saying about him having the conversation. I feel like if you have the conversation, you are only responsible for what you give your child, what you feed into your child. Once you give it to them, your job is done. It's up to that kid to walk it out. Now, if they choose not to follow what you've spoken about, and it also depends on how transparent the parent is willing to be when it comes to explaining stuff about sex or talking to them about being safe having sex. But if the child is like, yeah, I hear you, but I'm still gonna go fuck out both pants legs, then I mean, what can you do outside?
That's when you tie their ass up and you put them in the basement. That's what you do.
What the?
That's
Okay, she's
you
trying-
know what?
Y'all
CPS.
But not for this.
and to go on that, you see, it also goes on the type of conversation they're having. I didn't have that sex talk. What I had was, oh, you gay and you out here possibly messing with guys, and they didn't know. My father said he was just gonna push me out the window and kill me.
Oh, Jesus.
And
So
that's it.
I didn't have
And you know what the saying that might have been worse
sex
than ass
talk.
whooping.
That's the talk I had.
So the reality is that for me, I think that a lot of times people teach from fear,
Yeah.
and they think that is
Or ignorant.
ignorance.
Yeah,
but no, what I'm
definitely.
saying is they
Okay.
use
A lot of our fears
fear
are built on
as they
ignorance.
use fear as the tactic to scare you from doing certain things, and it's not working. You know, you tell them, oh yeah, you're going to do this or I'm going to do this, and they think that that's going to be a deterrent, and it's not a
It's
deterrent.
not. That's why I
What's
said
a
when I told my
deterrent
daughter, I
is
say no.
if you're actually transparent and honest. And it's been proven that when you actually have an open conversation and you're actually approachable, that chances are your children will develop appropriately. They'll figure it out, but you have to give them that opportunity to grow and grow healthy.
Yeah,
But some of these
a lot of
parents
stuff
today-
was hidden from us as kids.
Some of
Like,
these parents today don't know how to have to talk because they never had to talk, and then a lot of these kids aren't born out of love; they're born out of one night stand. So
Situation.
how can you
Business.
have this talk with your kid about love and all this stuff?
And you never been
and
and
your ass came out of.
exactly, or the
One
way
night
that
stand.
or the way that you had exactly, you came out of one night. So I can't really talk to you. So now my only way of getting to you is whipping your ass
Right.
because I don't know how to say the words. I'm reading on the 5th grade level, which a lot of these kids are. You know what I'm saying? So how can you have that talk with someone when you can't even understand it yourself?
Right.
You didn't have that talk by your parents. You probably was abused too the same way. So it's a learned trait. And then you have kids having kids.
Right.
You know, so this
they ain't
generation
teaching
today,
them,
sex is so
man.
high because it's doomed. Like, what the hell? What you gonna tell me?
Well, people, they're
I'm
afraid
5
to
years
talk
old.
about it.
I'm 5 years old, and
Your
my
mother
daddy
12 years
26.
older than you, and
And
it's
I mean,
like,
it
the
happens.
fuck?
It does happen.
Adults
It's
are
crazy.
so afraid to discuss sex in school environments and at places of education, places that's supposed to be about rehabilitation, because they're afraid that they're giving them permission to have
not
sex.
about
Education
They're
and permission
afraid.
are two different things.
They're afraid to do things like have condoms in schools, have condoms at hospitals available to people because
you
they're
got-
afraid that they're giving people permission to do certain things, and that's prevention.
You're right.
but
I
the
mean, but
reality
even if,
is-
I mean,
They got the condoms
even if
at the
they
15,
do, at least
15,
they'll
and
have
already
They
got
should
a
even have
disease. You gonna
sex
give me a
education
condom,
in
but you're not
schools
gonna give me a
today?
condom at my
To
regular
prevent
doctor
it.
visit.
But
I done
it's
went to
a
the doctor,
different
told you I'm having
curriculum.
sex. You gonna write
It's
prescription
more
for
so like
when I give out a
anatomy,
condom?
but it's not necessarily like sex education. They're not. Oh, and it's not coming from a perspective where it's inclusive. It's not really telling you about every aspect of sex. It's talking about you.
No, they're not.
Same sex.
No.
People are up in arms because
You
they
said
teach
what?
No, they're
sex
teaching their
education.
kids it's okay if you like the person that has the same things as you.
Oh.
There is no education about
There's no
Okay.
penetration in same-sex relationships.
Okay.
There's barely education about penetration in heterosexual relationships.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's like you have to be willing to educate and talk to your kids. Like it just depends on the relationship you gave your child. Like I've never gone to my daughter with sex. She's always come to me,
Right.
and that's because I feel like if I go to her, she's gonna automatically be on the defense.
But see, that's good because,
I don't want her to
and
be
that's a lot of
defensive.
things
I want
that's
her to be
missing
open.
is your daughter trusts you.
Right.
And if a lot of these kids don't trust their parents enough to go and talk to them because of fear of what they're gonna do because
getting
of
their ass whooped.
But you know what? That's true because you
Getting their
beat your
ass whooped.
kids for every little thing. Now, I didn't talk to mom. I wanted to, but I was scared of what she was going to think of me when I was having these thoughts that came out of nowhere, or these bad dreams about me doing stuff with guys that came out of anywhere, and guys following me, or even me now getting a heart off for thinking about a guy I didn't understand. Huh?
Were they really bad?
Yeah, they were really bad.
Okay.
They were really bad. And he knows. I talked to his brother about it. He knows. He terrorized me a little bit too, but but it was in such a healthy way, I guess. I don't know, but
Confront your fear.
it's a fair thing to talk to parents. So the fact that your child can trust you, that says a lot about you as a parent. So I would give you big 2 thumbs up for that.
And we're going,
you know.
so that's the Cocktail Social. We're going to cut to a break. This is Cocktail Social. This is Be Exposed Radio. I'm Blue Waters, your host. These are my socialites. We'll be right back.
No, that's really.
With my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get out to the forest and discover the wonders of nature with your family, just like Bleu, Jewel, and the whole Rio flock.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah! Woo-hoo!
Let's rock this jungle!
Woo!
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
And endless surprises.
Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to
Then what you're going to
this.
do is turn onto
Corsey
Marcy
and Brad
Avenue.
just broke up,
and go past the first
apparently
3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Then
think
drive 5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right. That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Cocktail Social. I'm your host, Blue Waters, and these are my socialites. The question that we were discussing before we went to break was, is corporal punishment ever appropriate to discipline a child? And that was a wonderful conversation that got so many different, so much feedback from you. But that sends me to this next question, and you actually led us into that question. You segued into it earlier, and I wanted to get into it. But this question is, this is one that you actually asked. Are you born gay, or is it a choice?
Oh.
And for the parents, this is something to think about, what would happen if your child came out to you?
How would you handle it? Say no. I'm gonna use corporal punishment. Say no. I'm behind in the conversation.
My best friend is gay. That's her lifestyle. So I've had conversations with other women about that. They said, "How would you feel if your daughter was gay?" I don't think I would be upset necessarily if she was gay. But I do think I would be upset if she was a dom, and not that I'd be upset with her as a person, but how our relationship has developed over the years. We got our nails done together. We did this together. We do that together. We go shopping together. She Like, it's just certain things that we did that she would no longer do, and I feel like that would break necessarily our relationship. So I'm not gonna say I would be upset to the point that you're not my daughter, but that's the part that would hurt me because I feel like it would change our relationship.
Would it be upset or disappointment?
Not disappointment, because I'm not disappointed in who you are. It's more upset because our relationship is gonna change.
Is
As far as how we bond.
I mean, she ain't gonna get her damn nails and shit done if she, bombed out.
That's what I'm saying. Not about being
She
gay.
walk around there like Debo, like,
I ain't really trying to get my nails done.
I'm not even gonna say accept, but I would have to learn to work around, or I would have to develop a new relationship with her as opposed to just keep growing in a relationship that we had. So that's how I looked at it, like with that. But the gay part, I'm not gonna say I would want her to be gay, and it's not necessarily because of, you know, the Bible or her sexuality and what she's doing. Because really, if she's gay, she ain't gonna be pregnant. But that's a whole different issue. But it would be more so like, is life gonna be harder for her? We know nobody wants life to be harder for their child. Right. So that's the part I would look at.
So do you think that children, that people are born gay, or that's something that they are socialized into believing about themselves?
I don't know.
I really don't know, but I know that I had a childhood friend, and we was little kids. You see what I'm saying? And his ass was gay then. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to be funny, but you know, like when we was playing with, you know, dolls and all that stuff, and it wasn't that it wasn't other boys around. You know, the other boys was outside playing football and riding bikes and going to the creek and getting bugs and all sorts of stuff. But he was in the house playing with Barbies with us. And like, you know, had his special Barbie that he wanted to pick out and stuff like that, but we was little kids. And so I'm like, when we grew up, you know, I mean, it wasn't somebody that I constantly saw all the time. You know, as kids, it was like we saw each other, and then it was like we grew up, we lost contact, whatever. And I saw him years later, and he was, I mean, like all the way gay. I ain't talking about, you know, you got regular, you know, gay. I'm just gay, and then you got flaming, like, you know, hey, you know, like fall out. You know what I'm saying? Gay. No, he was more gay than you was.
He was much of gay. He was in that bitch like,
you know. Like, but when we were young, he was I could tell that he was different. I didn't, now as a kid, because we didn't know, you know what I mean? They didn't even really say nothing about gay. You know, the word for gay was sweet. Right. You know what I mean? They just did this. You know what I mean? So you know, as a kid, I knew that he was different than the other boys, but I didn't know that it was gay. Okay. Until I got older.
This is my issue about that. I have a real strong issue about that. So, at that point, do you think that it was more of a learned trait and he just started being what everyone was calling him? Because, in my opinion, when you're a child, a toy is a toy.
Yeah. A toy is a toy.
You know what I'm saying?
But no, he was like into the shit. I ain't talking about.
I understand that, but again, a toy is a toy. So, when you have a little boy who's 4 years old, 5 years old, playing with a Barbie in his head, this is a toy. He's not looking at it as a girl's toy. But then when you had the adult saying, cut that gay shit out, or you ain't no fucking faggot, I hear these talks.
Right, and I
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're
saying.
So I think that there is two things. I think what you're saying is, I get that what you're saying, that when you're saying you're labeling things that then they identify this as this is a gay trait. But there's a difference between what you're attracted to and what you've been, So
right, because
as you go, just because I called you gay doesn't mean that you're going to be attracted to males. Right. As you progress through life, if you're not going to be, and this is why I believe that you're born what you're born. You're designed as you're designed. Yeah. There is no choice. You may choose to accept your truth. That's the choice, because a lot of people suppress it, and in a heteronormative world, everything is okay for you to be heterosexual, and it's okay for you to be heterosexual and promiscuous. But what you're not going to be is supported when you are different from the norm, and that's across the board in anything. So I feel like in this situation where you are gay, or if you have these inclinations, that you're not allowed to be who you are, and that's demonized. And I think that when you are attracted to who you're attracted to and what you are attracted to, that is something that is not supported. And so we as gay men and women and even trans individuals believe that what we are attracted to and how we perceive ourselves, something is wrong, that we aren't that's not how we were supposed to be. That something had to happen to us in order for us to be that way, and that's not true.
Well, I think. I
mean, because I feel like
I don't know. Some people I think
because
born, they just naturally gay.
Only thing I can
ain't
go on is my own story. You know, because everyone's story is different. So, am I born gay? No, I don't believe that anyone is born gay. That's just my personal opinion.
Do you think they're born straight?
I don't think
anyone is born gay.
I always say a child come out a child. They don't know what the hell they are. They don't know what's between their legs or whatever. You grow to figure it out, or your parents teach you. You grow with whatever the case. You grow into knowing. That's what I say. With me, with me coming up, I didn't think about boys whatsoever. You know, I was kissing white girls. I mean, you know, and
that's a whole
I
show.
I'm sorry, I was because I was raised in Gilmore. It was
right. It wasn't many options.
You know, it was white and Chinese. There was a couple black girls, but they were so tough and rough. You know, I didn't have no time for that.
You were so dumb.
That's a whole nother show.
You know, I wanted something a little bit more petite and
Right.
Shut up. But coming up where I wasn't thinking about it because I did things that people call not the normal things that boys should do. Like I didn't play sports. I was in the house probably in a coloring book, or I was singing, or I was chilling with my mom and just laughing and joking with her, or I was playing video games and then it wasn't wrestling or shooting up. It was more of Tetris or so I was deemed different in school. I was in the choir. At the point at that time I was a soprano. I was called gay because of my high pitched voice. I was like, you know, so
Kable, that's pretty fucking good.
The point is that wasn't. I just wanted to do what I love to do. I didn't think that these things had a title of what a man should do or what a woman should do because I like male singers. So Michael Jackson was I mean, maybe he's not the right choice. But Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, I like male. Earth, Wind, and Fire. David. Listen, I'm about to name Mustard Gay. David Bowie.
You talking about George Michael? Like, wait a minute, hold on.
And you go down this rabbit hole, the gayer you get. I don't know how.
But you know what? That's my point right there. Black people today deem so many things gay where white people don't, and it's really sad that we.
If a boy plays sports, he's not gay. But if he's
that's not true.
No, I'm not saying it's true.
Yeah, I know.
The perception.
But that's the perception.
If a boy plays sports, he's not gay. He's a sports. He's doing what he's
right. He a man's man.
A bunch of bitches. Like, that's
but I'm gonna tell you something.
But if a boy is into the arts, into the finer things, into cooking,
absolutely.
But
it's some gay guys.
It's starting to transition now into everybody can do what they want. But when we were coming up, it was not like that because your sexuality has nothing to not necessarily does not tie
exactly.
So I have a question, and this is not a real person. I watched the show Queen Sugar. Okay. And you know about the child on the show, his name is Bleu. Bleu has
Bleu.
His name is Bleu.
I know.
And he has a doll named Kenya. That is
and it's not doll. A Kenya doll. That's what he named her.
He named the doll Kenya. And
I
his
had a
father.
doll named Kenya.
Did you have a Kenya doll?
Somebody might have stole your life and wrote about it on the show.
And his father does not put any constraints on him regarding that doll. He does it. He defends his son. He doesn't allow anybody to come for his son. Right. This father has been in jail.
But that's a good father. Right. Because I wanted, and I'm gonna let you continue. Yeah. But that's a good father because I wanted my buddy.
Right.
And my father would not let my mother get me a my buddy because he felt as though it was gay.
Shit, I had
a doll is a doll. No male should have any doll, no matter the fact that it was just my buddy, a stuffed doll for a boy.
Right.
He still deemed it
gay.
So have you ever thought about?
But wait a minute, I was adding up to her question.
Yeah. So my question is. Bleu and his dog Kenya, who he talks to, that's his best friend. He carries her everywhere he goes. Do we suspect that he's going to grow up if we watch it? Do we suspect that he's going to grow up and be a gay black man?
Oh, girl. Mentality today, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Mentality today,
yes.
yes.
Was a surrogate for his mother. I mean, not
Kenya is a surrogate
for his mother because he doesn't play with Blue like doing her hands stuff. Blue is who I talk to. Blue is who I confide in. Blue is my best friend and confidant. His mother is not in his life as we think a mother should be.
I think this may be a young man that has social anxiety and may not be able to build relationships with other people, and he feels more comfortable with this doll because this doll doesn't give any negative feedback. This doll is just somebody that he's able to talk to and be his true self with. But I believe that when it comes to
today's generation,
one thing I would like to say is that I like to applaud a lot of the gay men and women that do not subscribe to the stereotypes of being the stereotypical gay. You know, there are football players that are gay. There are boxers that are gay. There are athletes women that are doing so many different things and across the board. So, and that's the thing that I feel like for your father, that he grew up in an era where there were a lot of stereotypes and there were a lot of social constructs that they put people in. And as a result of it, that you weren't allowed to go certain places. And for a lot of black people, I mean, you know, for a lot of black gay men and women, it was a struggle. It's a struggle being black in the United States. So can you imagine being black and gay and having to survive here? That's a hard thing to do.
It comes from fear. We are already trying to be stronger than what we were when we were slaves. So these have been passed down to us. So now we're not slaves anymore, but I still need you to be, or at one point I needed you to be the strong black man in the household. And you're not that because you're soft. So I'm going to beat this strength into you. It's not strength, but this is the idea of what some people have.
But that's an assumption. That's an assumption that being gay is weak.
Right.
And you know, and I think that for
and that's why are we really not slaves today? Because I feel like growing up, I was a slave to my environment. I was enslaved to what people thought. Yeah, you know, I think we are still slaves basically, to a certain extent. Because
you think we're slaves because we black?
I mean, shit, we're slaves to like we have,
as a society.
We have freedom of speech, but we still gotta watch what the hell we say, because like if you say something, like you can say something and somebody can edit it and turn it in a way that now you got to go back and try to defend yourself. Just like with comedians, you know what I mean? Comedians will say something and then they like, oh, but you said something about somebody being gay or this, that, and the other in your performance. Okay, he's a comedian. I mean, it's certain shit.
Let me tell you, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
It is. Or like this, if you saw my post on Facebook, and this goes with why I came out, what happened with me, why I thought about being gay, because it was something to me that was taught to me to be. It was something that was programmed. I'm sorry, that's just my story. When I'm being teased, when you're being teased and bullied and called this constantly, and you're constantly trying to defend yourself, because this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get my parents to see a different side of me that wasn't what they. So I started, my dreams and nightmares was because of hearing them calling me that, and I started having these weird dreams about guys out of nowhere all of a sudden, because I'm sitting in my room crying and thinking about what they're saying. Like, am I missing something? Is they saying something I'm not seeing? Maybe they are saying something. So let me go to school and start looking at the dude to see if I'm gonna get a reaction.
So the people that you trust have convinced you.
Yeah, totally. And I totally believe that.
So and for me, what I hear what you're saying. What I hear is that they convince you that dislike who you are.
Yeah.
And the fact is that whatever you were attracted to, even if you were gay, you were made to dislike it. And that part of you is something that you never accepted and you'll never like. And
but see, that's my story. I never thought about being gay.
I know.
Like,
you might not have.
But I wasn't looking at boys like that at all.
But because they said that to you, that opened your eyes.
That opened my eyes to
you know what? Maybe
they're saying something
before you were ready.
Right. And so that's, again, and I think that the reality of it is that that's unfortunate for you, because in order for you to reach that pinnacle where you can actually love someone else, you will have to actually address that part of you that you don't like. And the thing is that for me, when I was growing up, that was the exact same story. But the way that I was able to deal with that is that I had to, one, identify the part of me that was holding me back, and it was the fact that people were telling me what I was supposed to be, as opposed to me saying what I was supposed to be, and being okay with that. And I wasn't allowed to be in my own truth. Okay. Right. I'm okay with being gay. I'm okay with my attractions to men. I'm okay with my attractions, period. I didn't have to live for anyone else outside of me, but that's what we are conditioned to do. We're conditioned to walk in the footsteps of our parents. We got to be like our fathers. We got to be like our mothers. We got to continue the family name. We got to continue the family legacy, and that's a lot of weight, and that's a lot of pressure.
You ain't even got to be gay to have that much pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be a freak and a motherfucker looking at you like, well, why you always feel like you got to have a man or something around you?
Or why you ain't never got no man?
Or why you ain't married? Or why you ain't this? Or why you ain't that? Like, maybe I don't want to get married.
Experience with the whole notion of being gay, whether it was a choice. I think the reality is that at some point in your life, you may not realize it. What you chose was, and it may have been you may see it as rebellion and opposition, but it was your choice to be true to you and live your life according to you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If you're not attracted to it, then you don't have to do it. So a part of it is, what is it that you want to do?
Well, for years, I did it because I got so used to doing it. I did it. I didn't come really face to face with the fact that I'm gay, honestly, until I turned about 30. And I'm being real.
And that's a lot of people.
When I became.
So what was you doing? I mean,
I was still interacting with gay people, but I was weird.
I was going to say, because I mean,
I would do stuff with guys, and a lot of times afterwards, I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel like, why am I doing this? And then I would think something's wrong with me mentally. I would literally beat myself up, lock myself.
So you didn't become comfortable in your
I
sexuality
didn't become comfortable with myself until 30, because at that point I'm like, well, shit, I'm done did it this long. Like, it's like you owned your truth. It's not saying I settled. It kind of feel like I'm saying that, but I don't want to say it that way.
Oh, you owned your truth and became comfortable. Right.
Yeah, somewhat.
Did you have any?
I mean, did you try?
No, I never had sex with a woman before in my life.
Oh, see, hell no. Come here, baby. Come on.
There's your first.
Let me help you out real quick, no?
Because coming up, even though my childhood was really bad. I don't want to discuss it because I love my mom, my father. I love
He don't mean nothing but mommy.
But you know, I was getting left and right. I was getting abused, teased and abused at home for being gay. Then I would go out in the streets and get called it. You know, your home.
So you didn't have a safe space.
Space. When I leave the bullying from out the street, I should be able to come home and not feel that. No, I'm getting in. So now I'm stuck, and then I'm getting females who calling me black and ugly because I was called ugly forever.
Oh, shit, black is the best part. Shit, man, the blacker the damn better.
So this is real. So when I hear Wesley Snipes talk about how females thought he was ugly, especially black girls, and now he dates white girls, now black females mad, he was like, y'all thought I was unattractive.
Actually, he dates Asians.
But
only Asians.
So
that's a different type of
thing. But see, I think that, and so I think the thing for you is and there are several things. There's several factors. One is the inner city. Yeah. And the inner city is a rough space to grow up in. Well, no, he went to inner city school.
No, I did.
Okay. So the thing is that, you know, and
see, there you go put a stereotype on black women, but that's a different show. That's a different show.
In my neighborhood, they were.
They was probably dogs.
I lived in Gilmore in Harlem, baby. They were linebackers. I was scared. They were more manly than the men. I was scared.
Well, and I mean, but
different show. I got a whole different.
And that's urban communities. You know, guys and girls are raised tough. You know, I mean, and when I grew up, you had the reason why I'm the way that I am is because you had to learn how to crack. You had to learn how to deal with. People called you faggot. People called you sissy. People fought you because you were gay. They were sick people. Family was sick people on you if they thought you were gay.
So it was that shit. That didn't even matter if you was gay or not.
That's just a part of life.
And I want to clear up what I said. At Glen Burnie, they were more submissive. And
I understand the difference.
You know what I mean by linebacker.
Yeah, I know what you said. They was aggressive.
Physically, look. I thought you meant the action.
No, they was aggressive. Yeah, look. I thought you was some old Debo ass shit.
He trying to clean it up. He did
I
mean.
don't think he meant
I didn't mean
but you know, black women are always painted as aggressive, angry, and disrespectful, as opposed to white women. But that's a different show and a different topic.
We are different show.
First of all, well, because it's too much to say about that.
5 years old, you supposed to
You ain't never learned.
Well, we can revisit it at another
might
time.
have to go into
it won't be
overtime.
next week.
No.
It will not be next week because I had something else that I wanted to
Oh
But I'm so selfish. But this has been the Cocktail Social.
Thank you for having
I
me.
appreciate y'all being here with me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate y'all joining us. And tune in next week. Same time, same space, 7 o'clock.
I hope you guys enjoy it.
Next week.
No, I'm here. No, tune in next week.
Ah.
Tune in next week. Same time, 7 o'clock for the Cocktail Social. Grab your cocktails. Join us for the Cocktail Social weigh-in here at Be Exposed Radio. I am your host, Blue Waters, a.k.a. Miss Kitty the Cat Couture. The Cat.
That's a long ass title there, buddy.
Miss Luscious Lips, Lucy. Lucy Goosey. Lucy
He got the
Goosey,
cucumber
Lucy.
challenge lips.
Now this is
Get away from me.
I do have a cucumber challenge for you. No,
You know what? That's the end of the show. I'm ready to
this has been the Cocktail Social, and this is the happy hour that you can miss. See you next week.
Good day.
You are now listening to Just a Bit Outside, the sports radio show at BeExposedRadio.com. Come join us every Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook,